Welcome into the CHGO White Sox Podcast, live from Studio A of our CHGO offices here in the West Loop of Chicago. I'm your host, Sean Anderson. Follow me on Twitter at Sean_W_Anderson. You can follow the show on Twitter at CHGO_White Sox. Alongside me, apparently, the two of the other three Musketeers.
Shing.
Who are you?
You've got with the sword.
Didn't they make that a movie, or is that the Three Amigos?
It's been a movie many
All
times. It's very old. It's from like the 1600s or something.
Okay. All right.
Alexander Dumas?
Yeah.
Dumbass?
All right.
Wow.
That's what it's called. Right?
That's Herb Lawrence.
Hello.
You can follow him on Twitter at Ecknerwall23. He's our CHGO.
I'm not
White
calling
Sox
Vinny a
community
dumb.
leader.
That's if you just say his name. Dumbass.
It's Duber. It's Vinnie Duber. You can follow him on Twitter at Vinnie Duber. He's our CHGO White Sox beat writer, and you can read his articles up at allchgo.com. And there is, look at that.
Sarah's
Got a
out here.
graphic.
Sarah knows what's up.
What's up, Sarah? A ball of confusion. Nice headline, Vinny.
Whenever you can throw a Temptations reference in there, you got to do it.
It's like a little news notes, a couple little headlines in there. It's a nice way to get caught up on what happened this week.
Well, it's more of a, throughout the day yesterday and obviously throughout the entire series here that the Sox just finished against the Rangers, getting a lot of Twitter comments and questions about when I'll throw a news thing out. I'll throw Pedro Grifol said this in the pregame and the bing, 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 bing. Why are they doing this? Why are they doing it this way? I don't know if I can fully answer all of those questions, but I took a crack at it and at least told you what the White Sox are thinking. What I don't know what this person is thinking. I don't know what the guy who picked up Tuki Toussaint at the airport is thinking, taking the Kennedy in the middle of rush hour. It boggles the mind.
I know it's Temptations, but is it wrong of me to first think of the Sister Act 2 version of Ball of Confusion?
Yes, it is wrong.
All right.
You lose me there. I know that
Quality
Whoopi
movie.
Goldberg is in Sister Act
She is.
1 and 2.
Yep. Kathy and Jimmy, too.
Who?
Never mind.
Okay.
Lauren Hill, you've heard of her?
Yeah.
She's in Sister Act 2.
Okay. She showed up?
Yeah.
On time?
Oh, yes. This is when Lauren was down for it,
Got you.
singing her ass off, too. It's a quality movie.
I
You should
wasn't
watch it.
I'm not going to watch Sister Act 2.
You should watch it.
I'm not going to.
It's good for everybody.
I'm not going to watch Sister Act 2. I've gotten into now submarines. I want to. James Cameron did the thing where he actually visited the Titanic, and I'm like, oh, kind of interested. So I might watch that over Sister Act 2.
I'm going to go watch Yellow Submarine, the Beatles movie. It's weird. It's weird.
That's a great movie.
It's very weird, Sarah.
It's a long one, too. The
It
first
is.
time I
It's
watched
way
it.
too long. Yes.
Yeah, it's like 3 hours or
Wait,
like
really?
3 and a half.
It's not 3 hours.
They
It's
made
the
a
length
movie?
of a regular movie. It's a cartoon.
It's where they're all literally just like tripping in the ocean, singing their little songs from the Yellow Submarine. It's a good movie.
The Blue Meanies. Yeah.
The Blue Meanies.
It's weird. It's long. It's not very good, but I'd probably rather watch it again than watch this James Cameron business.
Sarah, what year were you born in?
2000.
Okay. All right. How long do you think the actual movie is?
Yellow Submarine?
Yeah, that Sarah thought was 3 hours.
I don't think it's even an hour and a half.
It's not.
It's so long.
Uh-oh.
Sean's got it for you right here.
87 minutes.
Yeah.
Which is under an hour and a half.
an hour and a half long.
I have a
You
memory
tripping.
in my because I watched it
Just
when
watched
I
it back
broke
to
my
back?
foot. You know what? I was on pain medicine during it, but I broke my foot my freshman year of college,
There
and
you go.
I watched all the Beatles movies, and the Yellow Submarine in my head was the longest one.
Yeah.
All right,
I
never
mean,
mind.
maybe. It
What
might
do
be
I
the
know?
longest one, but
What
it's
do I
only an
know?
hour and a half long.
Yeah, I'm
like
gonna
this.
never mind. Leave me out of this.
I like that. Good detour, guys. Let's get into our Chicago White Sox, our beloved Chicago White Sox.
Do we have to? Can we just talk about Yellow Submarine for another 45 minutes?
Can you fill enough time? No.
I know the song.
I can't.
And that's it.
We
Just
could
the-
sing it, but
just
that
the
won't
hook.
even last 45 minutes.
Only the hook. That's
we could
all I
sing
know.
it backwards, too, and that still won't fill 45 minutes. I guess we could talk about this. Hey, we got a new event to let you know about, the CHGO Crosstown Series takeovers. We are still working out all of the details, but CHGO Sports has taken over Guaranteed Rate Field and Wrigley Field for the 2023 Crosstown Series. Join the CHGO White Sox and CHGO Cub crews on July 26th, Guaranteed Rate Field, 710, Section 529.
Right behind home plate.
right behind home plate. There's a pregame meetup at 5:30 at the Carrig Pub. And
This is the one on August 16th, which is going to be at the south side. You said July 26th. That's the one happening on the north side.
I am reading straight off of our beloved website.
I'm reading the graphics that say it right there.
Oh, mercy! We gotta maybe we gotta
see that we said we hadn't gotten all the details.
So there's something that we're gonna figure out. We're gonna let you know more about the details, but stay tuned.
Keep an eye out for that.
Those are 2 dates. I know that for sure.
I mean, I can just tell you right now, July 26th is a home game for the White Sox.
Okay,
That will
so
be
that makes sense why that one's
on
an
the
Oak
south
Forest.
side. So yeah.
Okay.
That graphic needs to be switched.
But
yeah.
I think maybe it's the whole it's the crosstown thing. I get your confusion, but I think that's also the way that the shirts were made.
Yeah.
Was like that. That's the way the shirt graphic was made. Was left to right.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
I get. Yeah.
So it's just I do get why you're confused, but it's
Yeah.
less like that's the.
I
Cub
get what you're
one.
saying because either fan can go to either game.
Yes.
They just happened to put the Cubs one.
Yeah.
And all right.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, news and notes for the
boy.
design team.
Yeah.
Anyways, July 26th we'll be out at Oak Forest, the Gaelic Park pub, and I feel like I'm gonna get my mom's. She doesn't even have her nationality card. What the hell is that called?
Green
What?
card?
Citizen. She's not a citizen of Ireland. anymore.
I'm about to say
her citizenship revoked. I feel like I'm saying the Carrig wrong.
Okay.
But 6119 147th Street in Oak Forest, 60452 is where the meetup will be on July 26th. There is a diehard page too for diehards to buy, and diehards do get a discounted ticket. So if you do want to become a diehard, head over to All CHGO and level up your fandom today. And each ticket purchase comes with the new CHGO baseball shirt, south side or north side, and the ticket price is comparable to a normal ticket, right? We want to make it a competitive ticket price. You're not being you're getting a good deal on the price, and you're getting a shirt, right?
And you're going to the Cubs Sox, which is a rarity.
And there's a pregame meetup.
Yep.
So hey,
It's gonna be hyped that day.
mercy. Let's go and Jake put in a request for that to be flipped an hour ago.
Oh,
So
there you go.
If that makes you feel better, Jake is listening. Hi, Jake. So he agrees that it's confusing, but we'll get it figured out, and we are excited to have that happen on the 26th, and then later in August again when the Sox are visiting Wrigley Field. Let's jump into the Sox here. Tim Anderson missed the past 4 games, was in the lineup in Saturday, took 2 at-bats, and then we saw a play in the field where it looked like he injured his shoulder, and then Rick Hahn on Monday said he was day-to-day, and it's really been more day-to-day. What is the expectation for Friday for the home game? Is the expectation that Tim will play? Is it like 75-25 that Tim will play?
I mean,
Too soon to tell?
I'm not. Yeah, I would lean toward too soon to tell before throwing a percentage on it. And I think Pedro Grifol had the same thing in mind when he was talking about it yesterday. Really, they're seeing what he can do, Tim, that is, before games in the pregame work. As of Monday, the only thing he was able to do was run. Tuesday, he took batting practice. He could hit, so they put him in as a pinch hitter late in that game on Tuesday. He did not play at all yesterday, which would indicate that he is still not up to playing the field. He wasn't as of yesterday. They're going to wait and see what happens when they get to the ballpark on Friday and see if he's able to play the field that day. An extra day today of recovery, you would imagine, would push him closer to being ready to go, to being able to be in that starting lineup. But Pedro just referred to it as a possibility. So I wouldn't say that he's likely to play tomorrow, but we'll see when the lineups come out.
Did they give more color to the injury? It's a shoulder injury, and obviously he was able to pinch hit. It doesn't seem like he can play the field from what's been reported. But obviously you mentioned he can pinch run. But are they saying what's hindering him? Is it throwing? Is it just motion? Have they given more color? Or is it just kind of shoulder injury?
Yeah, just kind of a shoulder injury. I think the idea or part of the idea as to why he has not been put on the injured list is that he can do some of those other things and can help the White Sox if they need a pinch runner late in the game, if they need a pinch hitter late in the game, which they used him as on Tuesday. So not only do they not think or did they not think that this would be something that would knock him out for 10 days? But they did. But in the meantime, while he is unable to start, he's at least able to contribute in some fashion. Pedro really downplaying the whole severity of it, even though it's been a 4-game absence here, saying that it's, he said it's not a big deal. They didn't think at all about putting him on the IL. So the initial, I guess prognosis or whatever you want to call it was that it wasn't something bad enough that it would require an IL stint at all. Now here we are, though. 5 full days without a start with just the one pinch hit appearance, which was a ground out to second base.
Do you think that maybe also in this equation is that the White Sox really don't have a lot? I think you brought it up the other day on the 40-man that is available to come up for, if Tim was to IL and there is nobody available. We're talking about Leaning Sosa just coming back from an injury and don't have a lot of other players who are middle infielders to come up and take his spot.
Well, I would say that that's probably part of the reason why Jose Rodriguez is here now, because obviously Romy Gonzalez went on the IL, prompting that, but it was Yoan Moncada going on the IL that brought Zach Remillard up. They would have, if TA was out of this mix right now, they would still have 5 infielders: Berger, Vaughn, Remillard, Andrus, and Rodriguez. So I think part of the additional reason, other than Lenin Sosa was just coming off an injury down in the minor leagues, that Jose Rodriguez is here is they do need another infielder while Tim is unable to play, even if they're not going to put Tim on the injured list. So I think they've kind of already answered that question, but there's nobody else behind him that is going to come up, though the further you get away from Sosa's IL stay, maybe the more likely it is that he would be next in line for a call-up or something like that.
Yeah, and he's been in Charlotte, so,
right.
It is possible that, if things do go, really off the rails, and what they don't expect is Tim to hit the IL, but maybe things change and Tim hits the IL when Lenin Sosa is ready to get called up, because as you mentioned yesterday on the show, just Jose Rodriguez was kind of called up because the 40-man was just in a predicament that way. So.
Yeah, and I see a commenter saying this, and I've seen other people mention Hanser Alberto's name. I think you, Sean, mentioned Hanser Alberto's name the other day. Hanser Alberto's no longer on the 40-man roster. So in order to put Hanser on the big league team, somebody else has to be designated for assignment. You don't really like doing that, particularly when it's somebody that you could need, as you're seeing from all the injuries, shortly down the road.
Right, too. And, that's the thing with Remillard is, he'll be able to be sent back down once, they don't need active bodies, right? It's just tough for them to move anybody just because they do need Zach Remillard in Charlotte once the major league roster is back up to full strength. Lenin Sosa did play yesterday, on the 20th for the Charlotte Knights. 2 for 5 with an RBI. So Lenin Sosa has returned to the field. So we'll see if he is back with the baseball, the major league club at any point soon. Tim, though, we did see on that Saturday game, he finally got demoted for the first time out of the leadoff spot. Andrew Benintendi led off. Tim Anderson batted second. I felt like I thought we saw this earlier on in the year, but we didn't. So this was the first time that Tim hadn't been in the leadoff spot when he was healthy and in the lineup. But Benny has now been the leadoff hitter for the past, 5 games now. Is that the expectation when Tim Anderson returns, whether that be Friday, Saturday, Sunday, or whenever he is ready and healed up?
I would think so, because it was sort of a big deal from Pedro Grifol to make that lineup switch for that Saturday game. It just so happened that Tim was out of that game relatively quickly. I would think that the decision that he made Saturday would still apply to now, both probably what he sees as the positives of putting Andrew Benintendi in the leadoff spot, as well as the hoped-for positive effects of maybe getting Tim in a little bit of a different look. So, both those guys' offensive numbers have not changed much. Tim's haven't changed at all, obviously, because he hasn't really played. But it would seem logical to me that would replicate itself the next time Tim is able to be in the starting lineup.
Anecdotally, it seems like Andrew Benintendi's giving professional at-bats, Sean, at the leadoff spot. better than what Tim has been doing in this whole year. So, yeah, I would expect the team would see what Andrew's been doing and say, okay, he's been doing very well for us, good enough for us from what Tim has been doing early in the season. I would say, though, like, this is not a final thing. Like, Tim can recapture his leadoff spot with good play. But in the immediate future, if he comes back, I would expect him, hopefully the White Sox too, to be in a lower spot than the leadoff spot. If it's 2, fine, but I would like him a little bit lower in the lineup because of all the multiple injuries he has. Take a little pressure off him, bat him 6th, 7th. He could still get his job done and then work his way back up to the top spot if he returns to being the TA that we all love and know.
I just find it weird that I think it was like June 10th or 11th, we saw a quote from Pedro talking about the next 380 to 400 at-bats for Tim is just going to be, what we more expect for Tim to then see 10 days later he gets demoted. I feel like that's a little bit going away from the message that we have seen that's been consistent with Pedro is he's going to back his guys. And, again, I don't know if it's really that big of a demotion because he's still in the top 3. Andrew Benintendi is also one of his guys, and maybe it is performance-based. But I'm just trying to find like a quote that, or on Pedro talking about it. But I really, it just seems like it was more shoulder-related. I'm not sure.
But I think also, Pedro's not giving us all truth because he believes, I would just speculate here, that, giving all the secrets away is not advantageous for his team and for what he needs to do it for his job. So he can say that in public while in private telling Tim and the rest of the team what they actually need to know. So it's a vote of confidence in public, but, sitting him down only one spot, I think everybody, even Tim, can say, okay, it's not like I'm getting, humiliated with a spot down in 6, 7, or 8 like fans like myself would want him. It's just to the second spot. I could still be me, and it's not necessarily Pedro punking me, but it's Pedro doing his job, and also I still get to get the majority of the bats that I would get if I was hitting number 1.
Well, I think you're right in saying that because we've seen this from him. Pedro does not give all the time his reasoning for doing things. There was the quote over the weekend in Seattle, which fired a lot of people up about his response to batting Jake Berger 8th. In defending his ability and his right to bat Jake wherever he wanted to, he did not provide a reason for why he was doing so, right? And that's fine. He doesn't have to. It would be helpful if he did, obviously.
Has Jerry?
What?
Have you talked to Jerry about it?
I have not talked to Jerry, no.
I know I can't.
But I also don't care who bats where in the lineup.
No, I know. But and I don't either. But just I would want to take it far enough where I just am sitting out in the White Sox parking lot all day, just waiting for Jerry Reinsdorf and just being like, Jerry, why was Jake Berger batting 8th on Sunday against the Mariners?
Thank you for stopping me, stalker.
If Jerry Reinsdorf knew my name, I would die. I would immediately, like a cartoon, just become as frozen as ice and just fall to the ground and shatter into a million pieces. Just because, no, he doesn't.
The second half of what I was saying was that Pedro, not only does he not always share, but he does usually and has shown a track record for having reasons for doing what he's doing, right? I mean, I think, and most of those are data backed or matchup backed, I should say. Herb, you brought up kind of that fan perspective, and even you go back to the analogy that I always use when it comes to the video game. You're playing the season on the video game. Someone has a bad 2 weeks. Throw him down. Who cares? What does it matter? We'll bump the other guy up. In the real world of Major League Baseball managing, there's probably a little bit more thought being put into that and behind the reasoning, the constant flux of bat the hottest 3 hitters in the top 3 spots means you're going to have a different lineup every day, which is another thing that everybody hates. So I think that just because he's not sharing those reasons, it was probably very thought out to make that move with Tim and swapping him with Benintendi.
Well, and you're going to talk about best baseball video games later with Lucas Giolito. You got an exclusive interview with Lucas Giolito. We got 16 minutes of that in our second segment. But something that everyone used to hate in franchise mode was the emotions Like, you just turn off the emotions. I don't want my guys being frustrated with me. I am the manager. I am the dictator. Do what I say. Like,
you could always solve
turn that off.
You could always solve that very easily, because for some reason the video game hadn't caught on to the fact that baseball players get paid a lot of money, and so you could sign everybody on your team to like a 5-year contract and not even really spend that much.
Just give them security.
Yep.
That's what's going to make people happy. Real quick, I do just want to add some color, because this is from Daryl Van Schouwen, the day of out in Seattle. Pedro talking about moving TA down. And I don't know if it's super data-backed, his reasoning. I think it helps our club. Benintendi has a high on base, team high, 347, and TA uses the right side of the field really, really well. The idea is for Benintendi to be on base, TA to use that side, us to go first to third, and get the big boys up with men in scoring position and them on base. Grafal said Anderson took the news on his move to the 2-spot well. It's not a dictatorship. I want the guys to feel comfortable playing the game. Doesn't mean we won't do the things that they're a little bit uncomfortable, but these guys want to win. Whatever it takes to win baseball games, they're on board.
Yeah, and I'll just add to that, obviously Tim wasn't playing, but when they came back to play the Rangers, there was all that talk about the streak of solo home runs, and he was saying, in regards to that, he even brought up, that's part of the reason we made the move that we did with the lineup, was to get more guys on base in front of the home run hitters. So obviously neither Benintendi nor TA have been home run hitters this year, but the guys behind them, your Roberts, your Burgers, your Aloys Yvonne have, and so they're trying to make sure that the bases are as loaded as possible for those guys.
He got one.
Benintendi?
Yeah.
Sure, that's one between the two of them.
Yeah, and I'm glad that they made the move. For us fans, it's like sometimes a little long and takes a little longer than we would want, but I'm glad that they saw a problem, they got proactive about the problem, and fixed it. So having Benintendi in front of Tim, I think, is the right move.
Well, I thought yesterday was pretty telling that, and obviously Tim wasn't in the lineup, but if Tim was in the lineup, I would have batted him leadoff against Martin Perez. I thought they should have batted Luis Robert Jr. Leadoff against Martin Perez, because you even saw late in that game, the last out Perez got was Andrew Benintendi, and Benintendi saw him for a 4th time. And Benintendi went 0 for 4. And we've seen before Pedro move Benintendi down to the 6th spot against lefties. So I don't think that Benintendi gives you the best look against lefties at the top of the lineup. So I would like him to be fluid with this lineup construction, because, hey, if Andrew Benintendi is going to give you the best ability to get on base against a right-hander, I'm fine with that. Bat him leadoff, and then maybe Tim will be able to inside out a fastball to the left side or to the right side, and hey, you get your first to third. Like I'm fine with that logic, but I wouldn't want that to be the lineup. You know?
Even if they want to do a thing where not even a straight platoon, just like sometimes having Clint Frazier be that leadoff guy for Andrew Benintendi. He gets on base. He has quality at bats where he can walk a decent amount of times. So I would be fine with that.
He doesn't hit the ball.
That's fine. They just need somebody on base with some speed. Luis Robert would say he's our power hitter. He's one of our power hitters. Why would we want a bunch of solo shots at the top of the order? I get what you're saying, but also you need to set the tone at the leadoff spot. And I think Luis swings too much, and also Luis is more of a power guy that you want people on base for him to drive in.
The thing is that this is obviously a problem right now. There is no question, there is no debate about who the Sox leadoff hitter should be if Tim Anderson is playing like Tim Anderson.
Right.
And so they're reacting to a problem. At the same time, this offense has been a problem all year. This offense was a problem all of last year. There are a whole bunch of, holes in the dam, so to speak, and they're not going to fix all of it by just flip-flopping their 1 and their 2 hitter. They're going to need production up and down the lineup to get this thing turned around. Tim Anderson remains, Herb, I would say, the most important hitter on this team, and the fact that he isn't going right now means that offense on a basically nightly basis is not going either.
Absolutely. Let's get some quick updates, and then we'll get into Vinny's interview with Lucas Giolito. Liam Hendricks, there was an update from Rick on Monday.
So back on Monday, basically no update, but the hope was that they could get Liam throwing again within the next week or so. So we're approaching, half of a week. maybe by this time next week he'll be throwing again, and they'll have a little bit more an idea of when he could be back.
And then also talking about the lineup too. I mean, if it is a lefty on the bump, I wouldn't mind seeing Tim Anderson 1 and Yoan Moncada 2 when Yoan Moncada's healthy. But that question is, when is he returning? You addressed it in your article today at allchgo.com. People can read that. But when can people expect Moncada to maybe even start a rehab assignment, or are they just going to say when he's healthy, let's put him in games?
We'll see. Another question I don't have a definitive answer for, but that's only because Pedro Grifol didn't. Honestly, the words out of his mouth was, I don't have an answer for that question of when Moncada might be back. He says it's because of that back injury, because it is a back injury. Basically, he's got to show up at the park one day feeling good, and he hasn't yet. So he's just playing a little bit of catch right now. He hasn't started swinging a bat. If that gives you an idea of how far off this thing might be. Pedro looked up and he says, I don't know if it's 10 days. I don't know if it's 14 days. If you want to use those numbers as gospel, which you probably shouldn't because he didn't sound too sure of himself with it. But there's only, 17 days left in the first half. So if you were to say, okay, he's going to be between 10 and 14 days before he's, let's say, ready for a rehab assignment, you go on a rehab assignment, that's the All-Star break. So we'll see. Maybe the start of the second half, but it sounds very vague right now.
Yeah, Dr. Grifol was correct, though, when he said the back is weird. The back is weird.
Yeah.
It's weird to look at. You ever look at a back? It's weird.
Well, I mean, the idea being, look at how much this has bothered Yoan all season long. I mean, this is something that's been bothering him since the end of spring training. He started the season, played a handful of games before going on the aisle and missing a ton of time early, then comes back, isn't really able to do much of anything from a production standpoint, is being rested kind of regularly to make sure that he's staying well, and in the end he can't even do that, and he goes back on the injured list. This is something that has not gone away since the end of spring training, it seems. So if Yoan is able to play through it, good for him. If it means that the offense production is going to be the way it is, I don't know if you can point to that, because obviously this is a guy who's had struggles in the past. I don't know if you can say this one reason is why the numbers aren't good, but another season of Yoan playing banged-up baseball pretty much the whole way through.
Absolutely, and we are an important benchmark here. Ross glowed amount of likes. That means we can take our first ad break, so make sure you hit that like button if you haven't yet. But we want to let you know about Sunnyside Cannabis Dispensary is your home for judgment-free cannabis shopping, a place where all kinds of visitors are welcome to explore, discover, and purchase a wide array of high-quality products. Sunnyside has everything you need to elevate your summer, and especially because it's Summer Fridays.
Tomorrow will be.
Well, tomorrow, right. I mean, people listening tomorrow will be enjoying a Summer Friday.
They will be.
It's our Friday as well.
It is.
Our Thursday is Friday, which makes no sense. But
No.
Who made your Friday better? Who made your week better? Which Chicago athlete made your week better? Who owned the week?
Of these teams,
I mean, the Cubs did pretty well.
Cubs are killing it right now.
they are. I'm not watching them, but as always, Lucas Giolito.
Lucas Giolito,
Every time he goes out in the bump, he makes my week.
There you go. So Sunnyside is all about owning the weekend, and their bud tenders will help you. If you are new to cannabis, make sure that you get the best help and care when you step into their shop. Through August, head to sunnyside.shop and use code CHGO25 at checkout for 25% off your total order. One use per customer. That's not only for new customers. Anyone can use our code. Pick up everything you need to elevate your summer. Again, it's Summer Fridays, and you must be 21 plus or an Illinois Med card holder. And again, if you are new to the cannabis game, their bud tenders will help you all throughout your journey. And hey, if you're the ropes, they'll let you just bounce around.
Exactly. So a lot of people there to help you get you the right thing. Just tell them what you want, what you're looking for, and they'll get you there.
Boom. And also Shady Rays. We love our Shady Rays. Vinny puts his on. I have mine.
Are those
on.
new, Sean?
We got two. And this is my second pair because I lost the other pair in Iowa. The other pair was my preferred one.
Gotcha.
That was kind of like my everyday one.
You know what you can do, Sean? You can call Shady Rays.
I could. They do have the lost and broken replacements. Since they were, a gift from Shady Rays, I feel a little weird being like, hey, I lost your gift. You don't really call people and be like, "Hey, I lost that toaster you gave
true.
me. Can you send me a new one?"
People giving you toasters?
I think I'm just gonna count my blessings and say, "Thank God I
no questions will be asked, Sean, when you do call them."
Mercy. Take on the sun with gear built to last. Our friends at Shady Rays have you covered with the warm weather ahead with premium polarized shades at an affordable price. Shady Rays is an independent sunglasses company that offers a world-class product that's just as good as any expensive pair we've worn. They have durable frames and extremely clear optics for outdoor adventures. I used to just be a person that bought like $5, $10 shades. The polarization of these shades, the durable frames, just make sure that I'm never going to have to buy sunglasses, hopefully, ever again. I think they truly are durable. I have sat on both of my pairs because I am forgetful. I have ADHD.
I remember last night, you were almost about to ruin your pair. Not on purpose.
Nope.
But I was like, if you do, no questions asked.
No questions asked.
Even if it's on video, even if it's on a live YouTube stream.
Yeah.
Should I just
No.
Shady Rays offers the most insane protection program in all of eyewear. Every pair of sunglasses is backed by lost and broken replacements. If you lose or break your pair, even on day one, they told us that they will send you a brand new pair. No questions asked. You can wear your Shady Rays with confidence because they have your back long after your purchase. Again, I didn't purchase these. I feel
technically you did.
Yeah, I guess. If you don't love your Shady Rays, exchange them for a new pair or return them for free within 30 days. There's no risk when you shop. Their team always has your back. And exclusively for our listeners, Shady Rays is giving out their best deal of the season. Go to shadyrays.com and use code CHGO for 50% off 2+ pairs of polarized shades. Try for yourself. The shades rated 5 stars by over 250,000 people. Let's jump in to the White Sox dugout. And
Let's time travel to the White Sox dugout.
the first base dugout.
Nope. Third base.
Damn it. Fuck.
Come on, man.
Anyway.
They haven't changed it.
I know, but I did this last time. I was
You
like,
did.
I was so confident that it was the first base dugout, and then I was wrong. So then I was like, just stupid. Anyways, let's go to the third base dugout where Vinny chatted with Lucas Giolito. It's about 16 minutes in length. They talk a lot from baseball video games to Lucas's future. We'll go back to the past and hear from Lucas and Vinny, and then we'll join you and discuss what they chatted about. Here is Lucas and Vinny from the third base dugout.
I'm Vinnie Duber, Lucas Giolito here on the south side. Lucas, thanks for the time. And I'm going to start off, I know you're a big video game guy.
Yeah.
Your first video game console, what was it, and what was your favorite game? First favorite video game?
Nintendo 64, Legend of Zelda, Ocarina of Time.
Okay, so you picked a console that I can relate to.
Got it.
You know, I was afraid because you're a few years younger than me, so I was going to be like, I'm going to come in here with the N64 stuff, and he's going to be like, no.
No. Legendary console. My dad brought it home when I was like 4 or 5 years old. I have fond memories of watching my dad play through Ocarina of Time. The game was so complicated, I had to use the guide. And then later on, I think when I was like in high school, I got an emulator on my computer, and I went and played back all those games I played when I was like very, very young. Played through Ocarina of Time, Water Temple kicked my ass. But a lot of good times, Mario Kart, Super Smash Brothers, Diddy Kong Racing, a lot of good titles for that console.
So I was a Donkey Kong 64 guy myself.
Oh, yeah.
It came with the yellow cartridge, which you had to love. So
Super massive game.
I know.
Yeah.
It took forever.
Yes, there's so many collectibles. All those platformers, man, like I miss, they don't make those types of games anymore. Like Donkey Kong 64, Super Mario 64. They're still doing it with Mario, but another one of my favorites was Banjo-Kazooie.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so here, now, be careful with this one. This could cause, there are some opinions about this. What's the best baseball video game of all time?
Ooh.
Because if you ask me, there's one right answer, so let's see if you get it.
It's hard not to say MVP Baseball 2005.
He got it, folks.
It's a tough one. Manny on the cover, right? There's Manny on the cover.
Manny was 05, Pujols was 04.
Yeah. 05 was the one. Great soundtrack. Very good gameplay. You know, the show does a very good job nowadays of making baseball sims, but for the nostalgia purposes, 05 gets it. And then I really like the NCAA game as well.
The one that came after it.
Yes. Yeah. That's when EA Sports had the rights.
My buddy would update the rosters. I mean, literally up until like 2 years ago, he was updating the MVP rosters, so that was fun.
Yeah.
All right. Well, hey, this year much better going for you than last year. Personally, What is, I know that you weren't pleased with last year. You wanted to make a change. What is working for you this year that wasn't working for you last year?
I'm able to make adjustments right now. I honestly, like, how many starts deep am I? 14-ish. I feel like I've only gone out there with my best stuff like 2 to 3 times this year. And, I'm starting to feel like, a little bit of a ramp up right now, which I'm excited about. But at the same time, it's just being a more mature pitcher, feeling my body a lot better than I did last year, both in like bullpens and out there in the game, being able to make quick adjustments and then make quality pitches to get out of jams.
So what was that off-season work like? We know that, you have had some transformative off-seasons in the past. What did you focus on this off-season that you're noticing now almost halfway through this season has really paid off?
The biggest thing was getting my body physically back to like where I'm most comfortable. So, shed some of the weight that I put on last year, leaned out a little bit, started moving better, feeling better on a day-to-day basis. And then as I went into like my actual baseball work, when it came to like throwing, doing some plyo ball drills and, kind of a whole program to get all my mechanics synced up again, I just felt like my body was a little bit more free and I was able to make those adjustments.
What is it like working with Ethan in the off season? We've heard that he's kind of a master with the communication and giving you guys tips. What is a pitcher's off season relationship with his pitching coach like?
Yeah, I mean, for me, Ethan and I have a personal relationship that goes back many years, so we're always in contact. But yeah, working with him in the off season is great. Now that he lives in Chicago, a lot of it's like over FaceTime and exchanging video and things like that. But he did come out to California. I think he saw me and a few of the other guys that live in that LA area. And, he just wanted to take a look and see what I was working on. And he had a couple suggestions, and we implemented those and got ready for the season.
What is an Ethan Katz mound visit like?
Chill. Generally pretty chill. Usually it's like, just kind of resetting, giving yourself, or him coming out to give me a breather, and then refocusing, kind of putting everything in the past that just happened, refocusing on, what are the next pitches that we need to make to get out of this situation. So kind of quickly going over like, hey, what's the game plan for attacking this guy? But it's an open conversation between me, catcher, and Ethan. And we wrap that all up within 30 seconds or whatever amount of time till the umpire gets there.
You brought it up, your personal relationship with him that stretches back. What is your best Ethan Katz story from high school?
I hate him for this, but it's when he was our pitching coach, but he also took it upon himself to be our pitcher's conditioning coach as well, which meant a lot of running, which I was not a fan of, and I'm not a fan of now. And now that I'm a big leaguer, I don't have to. But he made us, I want to say it was my sophomore, junior year, in like the preseason workouts, he said the goal for all you guys is to run a sub 7-minute mile. So we all had to just get our conditioning up, and then on the day we went out to the track at our high school, and I think I finished at like 6 minutes, 56 seconds and immediately collapsed to the ground. So yeah, it's a good Ethan story, but yeah, I'll forever hate him a little bit just for that one.
You bring up LA, you guys were just out there, you got to be in Dodger Stadium as a big leaguer. What was that like?
It was really cool, really, really cool. I grew up going there, watching the Dodgers play, watching some of my favorite players. I wasn't a Dodger fan growing up. I really wasn't a fan of any team. I was a fan of the game, and then as I got a little bit older, I became a big fan of pitching because I knew that's what I wanted to do. So going out there and, seeing the players play and watching some of my favorite guys over the years, the atmosphere there is absolutely electric. You got the Hollywood feel, the great sound system in center field. So, it would have been cool if I got to pitch one of the games there. It didn't work out. I'm sure I'll get the chance at some point in the future.
During the ESPN broadcast, you brought up your memories of going to the all-you-can-eat hot dog section.
Yep, right field bleachers.
What was your record?
Oh, man. I ate a lot more food in high school than I do now. I think over a 9-inning game, I probably put down at least 7, 8 Dodger dogs.
I mean, you just one away from that whole 1 inning pace.
Yeah, that would have been too much, though. I'm not out there trying to set records.
We'll do one more LA-based question. Obviously, your family with the acting history. I'm not going to ask you which of their roles is your favorite. I'm going to ask you which of your roles is your favorite. It's some of the commercials, the local ads you've been doing lately.
The guaranteed rate one was fun and cool, but that was 2 years ago. It was getting a lot of play. I wasn't expecting it to be on like every 10 seconds, and so it kind of turned into a bit of a meme. The fans were giving me some crap for it. Obviously, my teammates were. But, nonetheless, a good memory. I'd say my favorite one, though, is the one I just did earlier this year for Darwin Furniture and Mattress. That was a really good time. It was kind of a fun acting experience. It kind of gave me a little bit of freedom. I got to ad-lib a little bit and kind of mess around, and I thought they turned out pretty good.
Have your family given you some reviews on this yet?
Oh yeah, I immediately, as soon as I got them, I immediately sent them to my mom, my brother, hey, what do you think? Do I look good on screen? How do I deliver my lines? And they gave me notes and things like that.
It's been a season for you guys that hasn't gone the way you've wanted it to so far. Rick brought it up the other day when he was talking, the kind of difference that we noticed between now and a few years ago when you guys were having a lot of fun, and that he could use the word swagger was very obvious, very present. There's the obvious, no one likes to lose type situation, but what do you think happened to that fun? Is it still in you guys, and how can you get it back?
Yeah, it's definitely in us, but it's hard to let it out when you're over 10 games below 500 and you put yourself in a hole to start the year. Right now it's kind of that grind mode, really trying to have the highest level of attention to detail and all this work that we're seeing out beyond us right here, pregame, getting everybody's mind right, body right, so that we can go out and start to put some wins together. The division we're in, we're only 4.5 games back despite our record, so it really is anybody's division at this point. I really think that we just need to put it together as a team, start to get that momentum building, and then you'll see a lot more of that fun and swagger.
Are you seeing what you want to see from the guys inside the clubhouse? Is the clubhouse right now?
Yeah. I think a lot of guys are stepping up, no matter what their roles are. Adding a little bit more vocal leadership. Trying to make sure that we right the ship in every way possible. We're doing what we can when it comes to all that. We all get along. We're having a good time together. It's just the baseball's been tough. So, that's the one thing we got to get right.
I don't know if this has gotten back to you, but on our show, you're known as LG, Large Game, Lucas Giolito. What is it about that dates back to Oakland, the playoff game in Oakland. What is it about the bright lights that does it for you, for a baseball player, for any pro athlete? What is it about the biggest moments that really allows you guys to crank things up to another gear?
Yeah, the more fans in the stands, the more hostile the atmosphere, or at home, the more hyped up the atmosphere, big games, it just gets you going, man. It's hard to put into words. The adrenaline gets pumping, but then at the same time, you have to kind of take all that energy and really just turn it into focus on execution of each pitch. And I feel like in those big games is when I'm able to do that best. Really what I'm working on is kind of the other ones, those, day game in the middle of the week in Detroit or whatever it may be, getting that same kind of energy and fire for every single start. That's what the great ones do.
We know you do a lot of work with animals, a lot of charity work in general. What is the latest on the community front for you?
Well, just today we did Miracle League. It's a fantastic event. I think it's my second or third time doing it here at our stadium. White Sox Charities has the Miracle League come out. If you don't know what that is, basically it gives a big league experience to kids with cognitive and physical disabilities so that they get to come out here. It's just such a beautiful event. We have the announcer, we have a national anthem, we have the video board up. All the kids, when they go up to bat, they chose their own walk-up songs. They get to see themselves on the big board wearing the jersey. Their names are on all the Sox jerseys. And we're just there as players to kind of facilitate the fun. run around with the kids, laugh with them. And that's one of the most rewarding experiences for me when it comes to the community side. Just like seeing the smiles on those kids' faces. Because for us, we come here every day, and it's a privilege. We're very fortunate to be able to play this game for a living. So being able to kind of give that experience to kids that have been through some hard times, families that have been through some hard times, means the world.
And the pets at home are doing well?
Yeah. Louis, Juice, and Scallop doing great.
Any antics of late?
Same old. They got very strong personalities. The cats like to clash with each other. Louis and Juice, one of our cats, they've only gotten closer over the years. They'll be cuddling and stuff. It's pretty cute.
You mentioned in a recent interview, when you were asked about your future and trade talk and trade buzz and stuff like that you're very, very loyal to this organization. And, I think for a lot of for you, it's probably an obvious question, but for people who haven't had your experience, why does that loyalty exist? What when you look at that jersey makes you go that this is home for you?
Yeah, I go back. 2016 is when I debuted with the Nationals, and I had a few opportunities with them that year. I was 21 or 22 years old. Didn't go well, and the Nats immediately put me in a trade package along with Ronaldo and Dane Dunning, who is on the other side today, and I came to the White Sox in that trade. So immediately it was like, all right, cool, fresh start. But like how welcomed I felt from the get-go, like top down in the organization, from the players, the coaches, the front office. It's like, we want you. Like you are going to be part of our future. And feeling that after what just happened the year before was immediately like, oh wow, like this is wonderful. And then you fast forward 2018. Worst pitcher in baseball, right? Like we were talking about the commercial earlier. I mean, it's facts. And instead of probably 29 other teams, maybe 2 months in would have been like, all right, like you're going down to AAA, figure it out. The White Sox literally told me, hey, it's a rebuild. You're going to be a part of our future. You're going to be a part of our future success. We know you're struggling. Get through it. You're going to be here all year. It meant the world. I mean, I'm such a lucky position to be in. I got to, have a year of service time and learn from that failure. So then, the next off season I got to work, and then 2019 was my breakout season, and I've just felt nothing but love. So, like I said, very loyal to this organization. It does make me kind of sad thinking that this could be my last year.
What would it mean to you to have it continue, and should it get to that point next winter or something like that? What would that mean to you?
Oh, it would mean a lot. It would be huge. Be able to stay with this team and continue to try and help the younger guys and try to find a way to, like you're saying, kind of right this ship and get it going, because I know the talent we have, but a lot of those factors out of my control. So right now, I'm focusing on my next start. That's it. Next start. Take the ball, go out, give our team the best possible chance to win that game. That's all I can do.
Lucas Giolito, thank you so much for the time. Thank you for being on the CHGO White Sox Podcast.
Yeah, Lucas, thank you so much for your time. And thank you to Vinnie Duber for securing that interview, being such a... I mean, you asked such great questions. I mean, that's great. You had Jake Berger sitting in that same dugout. You had Lucas Giolito. Both were great interviews. Make sure you check out the Jake Berger one if you missed it as well. We'll talk a little bit about Lucas's future and some of the quotes in there a little bit later. Alec doesn't have to be crushed. Lucas's favorite baseball game is MVP Baseball 2005, or at least gave the tip of the hat or a cap to it. He understands where it all started. But anyways, let's go to ComEd Theater with the boys.
The ComEd Energy Efficiency Program is committed to helping families and businesses in the communities they serve, helping manage energy usage and lower energy bills now and into the future.
Herb, you're right. ComEd offers a wide variety of incentives on lighting and other efficiency upgrades to commercial, industrial, and public sector customers of all sizes across our beloved territory here in Northern Illinois. ComEd also offers free facility assessments that can help find energy-saving opportunities like those for HVAC systems, commercial kitchen equipment, or industrial processes.
And Vinny, how does that work?
Well, I'm glad you asked because I have the answer for you. This
good.
is not a Pedro Grifol doesn't know when Yoan Moncada's back is going to be better situation. I have the answer for you. And how it works is that an authorized engineer will work with you to develop a detailed assessment plan specific to your goals and needs. These can be done in person or virtually and last approximately 2 hours. Within 3 to 4 weeks, approximately 2 hours, that's only about 2/3 of Yellow Submarine. Within 3 to 4 weeks, customers will receive a report detailing energy efficiency projects that they can start working on immediately. Each recommendation will include estimated energy savings, cost savings, project cost, potential incentives, and simple payback. If you, Herb, own a business, don't wait.
I
won't.
This is actually only for you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
This is just for you,
And
not
here's-
for business
I'm in the
owners.
territory, too.
Here's you are in our beloved territory. Here's the CTA, the Chicago Transit Authority, which you should definitely take instead of sitting in traffic on the Kennedy like the guy who picked Tuki Toussaint from O'Hare. Get started saving money and energy today. For energy-saving tips, lighting incentives, or to schedule your free facility assessment, go to ComEd.com/poweringbiz.
Did you say ComEd.com/poweringbiz?
Yes, Herb, I did. Schedule it today.
Amazing. And we have some lovely set decorations on our table from Foco. You can check them out at foco.com. That's FOCO.com. Or click the link in the description below for all non-presale items. You can use the promo code CHGO for 10% off. They obviously have bobbleheads over at foco.com, but they have hoodies, shoes, signs, everything in between because they have the best sports gear around. And since it's baseball season, they have Aloha shirts like the one that is, I guess that is an Aloha shirt.
It is an Aloha shirt,
we
but you
have
can't get
one,
that at Foco. Not that specific one.
Not that one. You could get the bobbleheads there, but not the Aloha shirt. But you can get Aloha shirts.
You can
there.
get an Aloha shirt.
Exactly. Not that
Right.
Aloha shirt.
Right.
Straw hats, polos, everything you need for the game. And again, the set decorations were lovely and donated from Foco.com. So check them out at Foco.com or click the link in the description below for all non-presale items. Use the promo code CHGO for 10% off. Vinny, I thought Lucas's last quote there, or one of his last quotes about his future was very interesting. You talked about how he's very, very loyal to the White Sox, but he could be sad that it could be his final year. You've brought this up, Herb. This is a man that understands the professional side of this game. So even though there is that connection, I don't know if that's going to be like the main decider in his free agency if he hits that.
Yeah, so many things play into it, and I think that when you've got somebody that's been as part of an organization as long as Lucas has and has really grown up, at least when it comes to the big league team, grown up as a baseball player, transformed as a baseball player under their leadership and under their watchful eye, you could say. That means something. It might not mean everything, but it means something, and obviously it means something to Lucas. So he's a smart guy. He's a guy who knows and is interested in the business side of baseball, and we always say these guys should be allowed to go out and get as much money as they can, whether they are under no obligation to take a cut to please a fan base, and so it's on either this organization or any of the other 29 organizations to show that they have an appreciation for Lucas and his ability and what he can provide to a team and a city that he feels toward the White Sox for what they were able to do for him. If there is a match there and everything has to match up, right, then it sounds like he would be happy to continue his time on the South Side. But like I said, there's a lot of things that need to line up there, and certainly if they are interested in keeping or in employing him again, we'll say they will not be the only team that will have that interest, I would imagine.
And I think Lucas, for his part, has probably the advantage of pitching well this year, and also the White Sox not having a lot of starting pitching options currently either on the team or in the minor league system. So he has the advantage there when it comes to negotiations. But I would say, Lucas needs to go out and see what his worth is and his value is. And if some people say, once you find happiness, don't run away from it. If he's found happiness here with the White Sox and he wants to repay their loyalty to him back from 2017, God bless. But I always like players to, sorry, I spit a little bit, players to get their actual market value. If he wants to get his market value and go to a place that is paying him that and also can compete, God bless. I'll miss him. But I hope the White Sox, at minimum, offer him a qualifying offer, because I think he'll be paid in somewhere in that range for multiple years.
Unless, as Armando says, he thinks that Gio will be gone by the trade deadline. If he is gone by the trade deadline, can't give him the qualifying offer.
Cannot.
So we'll see what happens with that. Gio starts tomorrow. Brian Bayo, I think is how you say the name for the starter for the Red Sox tomorrow, will be on the bump against Giolito. That one's at 7:10. Then at 3:10, Marco is wondering if any of us will be at the ballpark on Saturday. For Lynn versus James Paxton, Vinny will be. And then on Sunday, TBD for the Sox and Cutter Crawford on the bump for the Red Sox. He is. What do we expect from Gio? Obviously, Lance Lynn just had 16 strikeouts. I don't think he'll have 16 strikeouts. I think he'll have a worse performance than he did last time on the bump. I'll be bold. But Gio, I mean, it has been a good season, but even in that interview, he said he's only had his good stuff about 2 or 3 times, but he feels more in tune with his body this year. So really, it doesn't have to have the stuff. It's more about understanding the mechanics and how to be that pitcher each and every time.
Hey, we talk about it all the time, Herb. Pitcher instead of a thrower, right? And
correct.
I mean, when you learn how to do your job, you don't need to have all that raw stuff to go along with it. I mean, you look back, you know, at what guys like Greg Maddux and all that era of pitchers could do without the blazing fastball and the like. Obviously, that kind of stuff is nice to have. But Lucas Giolito has learned how to pitch, learned how to be a very good Major League Baseball pitcher. So I don't see any reason why that shouldn't be the expectation every time out for him to have a very solid game that puts his team in a chance to win.
And I think the atmosphere will be of a big game, because the Boston Red Sox draw a crowd from local Red Sox fans that audience. Every time I go to both Sox, White Sox, it's contentious. There's some people yelling. There's some fights in the stands. It's more of a packed stadium than it is not, and it's going to be a Friday, beautiful weather tomorrow. So I expect Lucas to get the atmosphere and get feed off of what is going on in the crowd, and bring his large game Lucas Giolito status to Friday night's game.
I like that you brought that up to him too. He didn't seem to give it an endorsement either way.
He was writing that down. I'm telling you, he's going to trademark that.
I hope he does.
Like, I'm LG.
Hey, let's go. I did find that quote interesting too about the atmosphere helping him. I mean, it's not too shocking. Again, would you rather play in front of a quiet ballpark or not? And I think you even saw the A's players too feel that energy when they did the reverse boycott and filled the stadium.
Well, and I mean, I just think back to 2020 when there were no fans in the stands, right? The following year, when the White Sox won the division and went to the playoffs against Houston, you were hearing some comments from guys that were, well, they've been to the playoffs, but have they? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They've been to the playoffs, but have they played in a playoff atmosphere? Like, it was like, as much as we point to that game in Oakland for being Giolito's most terrific performance, I think, that I've seen, it wasn't until the following year where it was like, oh, okay, now they're getting that experience. Now they're getting that taste of the playoffs. So the atmosphere means a lot to these guys, and usually for the better.
Yeah, and we will see again what the atmosphere is like this weekend for the Sox. Red Sox usually bring out a fairly big crowd for Guaranteed Rate Field, so hopefully it's bigger than I think the 18 and 19,000 that was pretty consistent for the Rangers Sox series this past weekend. We do have a super chat from Ellie. Hey, I heard that they're going to sell the team in 2 years. Is that true, Herb?
I don't know. I don't know if it's true or not.
Ellie's got big sources apparently.
Yeah, hey,
he heard.
Yeah.
I don't know if he was standing eavesdropping in a cafe or something like that. But
yeah, I don't know if it's true or not.
Yeah,
but if it is, I hope they sell it to a great owner.
Well, I know you brought up one idea, and we'll get to it in a different off day about a certain number.
Yeah.
And a guy with a connection to Jerry Reinsdorf probably knows his cell phone number. Could probably, if this guy had a podcast, he could probably book Jerry Reinsdorf as a guest.
Michael Jordan?
Michael Jordan.
Yeah.
Do you think Michael Jordan could book Jerry Reinsdorf as a podcast guest?
I don't know what the relationship is like, but Jerry Reinsdorf did pay him $30 million his last couple of years as a Chicago Bull, where he didn't have to, and hooked up Michael Jordan. I mean, he's the best player ever, so it was good that he did that. But I'm sure their working relationship's still good. Michael Jordan, the owner in the MLB and NBA for a little bit, and Jerry Reinsdorf, of course, is the chairman of the Bulls. So I'm sure they still talk, if it's just at owners' meetings for the NBA.
Yucking it up.
You think that after just unburdening himself of a pro sports team,
Yes.
Mike's going to turn around and just buy another one?
I mean, he could probably see the writing on the wall. He's like, baseball, I think, is Michael Jordan's love. Like, he's good at baseball. I mean, good at basketball. Absolutely.
Yeah, he's
great.
okay.
But baseball, like, you
Where's
remember,
this going?
he went to play minor league baseball. He wants to get back invested into his actual love of baseball. And the team, if it was available, I'm sure he would at least explore it.
Got that Charlotte connection.
And he has enough money to do it.
We'll talk about it in a different podcast. I would be more inclined to believe that he would just make like a Charlotte baseball team, like just be an expansion owner, start your own franchise, right? I don't know. I don't have money.
Or just keep your money.
Or just he
and
makes
just
a
do
lot
nothing?
of it.
Oh, he wouldn't just sit at home and do nothing.
I bet he's planning another basketball comeback right now.
There is
Some like 20-year-old on the Bobcats, or they don't exist anymore. The Hornets challenged him to a one-on-one game, and he's like, "All right, that's it. I'm coming back."
I was just talking with CHGO Bulls host Matt Peck about there's a draft pick, Brandon Miller, which got some off the field stuff, but he said off the court
they play on a court.
That they were asking him who's the GOAT to him, LeBron or Michael, and he was like, nah, those people, nah. My GOAT, his GOAT is Paul George.
Amen.
Paul effing George. And I said to him, it's like, Paul George's mama's GOAT isn't Paul George.
My goat's Juwan Blair.
Yeah, and if Michael Jordan heard that comment and he happens to draft that dude, Michael Jordan, the day he gets into camp, he's like, here's the ball. Let's go. 60-year-old Michael Jordan's going to take on Brandon Miller and smoke that out of him.
Probably.
Immediately, it's like, don't you ever talk to me again.
He sold the team just to not embarrass Brandon Miller. He learned from Kwame Brown and said, I gotta pull myself back from this
don't
one.
you ever disrespect me again.
Yeah, I think
George.
again, Mike again, what do you do with money? And what is Mike Michael
I hope he doesn't go to the Submarine part.
He might be
it doesn't work out
might
for
be
folks.
using DraftKings Sportsbook. You never know. I mean, maybe he's placing wagers on the NBA draft now that he's got some inside knowledge.
He likes to do that, right?
I think so. Anyways, it's gonna.
I've got one more. I've got one more thing before we go.
Yes, of course.
I've got to give a thank you. And a shout out.
He's not in the chat.
He's not in the chat today, but I'm sure he'll hear this. Our guy Schwo,
who is going to give us a pig apparently.
He hooked me up with a nice T-shirt.
Look at that.
From the show that I went to a couple Saturdays ago. So thank you very much. That's a huge one. I very much appreciate it. That's great. And he sent a little letter with a photoshopped picture of Sean holding two pigs wearing Sox hats and said, now I need to make that happen because I got the shirt. I'm far more confident in being able to get Sean pigs than I am to get those pigs to wear Sox hats. I don't know if you can get a pig to wear a hat.
No. I don't know. I feel like I have enough training with experience with animals. If we got a pig in the office, I could get a Sox hat on it for a picture.
I don't think a pig wants to wear a hat.
No, that's cruel, man.
Yeah.
Is that cruel?
I would
Pigs
guess
are very
that-
sweet animals.
I would guess that a pig doesn't want to wear a hat.
I have a friend who has a pet pig. They're very sweet animals.
Right. I mean, give it an apple and
they go in
they'll be
tutus.
happy.
People dress them in like tutus
Right.
all the time. And
But they don't want that. They're a pig.
You don't know what they want.
They
It's for a picture.
You guys don't ask them, and you just put
Do they-
stuff on the pigs and dogs.
Do
Yeah.
they want to be in the CHGO studios? Do they want to be in the West Loop of
No.
Chicago or in a farm?
Farm.
Right. So we're not going to bring a pig in here regardless. I think that's the most cruel thing rather than a hat.
I'd say putting the hat on a pig unwanted would be worse than like bringing it to a place where it has food and water and stuff.
We have food and
think-
water.
Right. That's
Taking
what
it-
I mean. I think the hat is worse.
I think transporting it into a conference room is
Don't
worse.
put it in the conference. Well, how big's the pig, I guess?
A little teacup pig.
Oh, that's plenty of room for it to walk around in. For a little bit. Then you got to make sure it gets more room, but yeah.
You pig expert?
I can guess that a pig doesn't want to wear a hat. That's all I'm saying.
I don't know. I'm a doctor, not a pig expert. That's Vinnie Duber. You can follow him
Thank
on
you,
Twitter.
Schwo, for the shirt.
Thank you, Schwo. You can follow Vinnie Duber on Twitter at Vinnie Duber. He's our CHGO White Sox beat writer, and you can read his brand new piece up at allchgo.com talking about the wacky and wild ball of confusion that is the Chicago White Sox right now. And again, make sure if you did miss it to go back and watch the interview with Lucas Giolito. It was a fantastic one-on-one with Vinnie and Lucas. That's Herb Loritz. You can follow him on Twitter at Ecknerwall23. He's our CHGO White Sox community leader. And I'm Sean Anderson. You can follow me on Twitter at Sean_W_Anderson. Thank you to Sarah Fichter for producing this show today. And thank you to Lucas Giolito for his time with sitting down with Vinnie Duber, and for the White Sox communication staff for allowing that to happen. Being very nice, letting Jake Berger and Lucas Giolito come onto the program. Very nice access to have. And we'll see you guys next week, starting on Sunday, for the series wrap-up of the Red Sox and White Sox. See you then.